I'm Paul Wright. I'm the editor and founder of Prison Legal News, and Prison Legal News is a monthly magazine that I founded in 1990 when I was in prison in Washington State, and we report on legal and political news developments affecting those involved in the criminal justice system.
Okay. So what stops people in prison from getting their stories out to the outside?
There's a variety of obstacles and impediments to that. A lot of it ranges from things as simple as censorship, as literally the physical act of prison officials physically preventing prisoners who do write about prison issues or prison conditions from going outside, getting their word outside of prison. There's also physical obstacles like not having writing materials such as pens or paper. And one of the other things that's also an obstacle is also high illiteracy rates. Depending on the state, anywhere between 40 and 80% of prisoners are functionally illiterate. And these are all obstacles that prevent prisoners from having access to the outside. When it comes to telephones, the cost of prison phone calls is exorbitant due to kickbacks given to the prison systems, and this can range, a 20-minute phone call can range anywhere from $20 to $30 because of these kickbacks. So that seriously limits the ability of prisoners who can only make collect calls through these phone systems to communicate with people outside the prison system.
What's the effect on prison policy of not having prisoners' voices in the conversation and the debate?
Well, this is the exact reason I started Prison Legal News when I was in prison, is because I felt that prisoners and their families were the people who were most affected by these criminal justice policies, yet by the same token, these were the people who had literally no voice and no say in how any of these policies were formulated. And I think that there's a bigger structural issue, is the fact that prisoners have no more say in prison or criminal justice policy in this country than cows have in the formulation of farm policy in this country. And from the viewpoint of policymakers, they're in the same category. They're chattel.
And what do you do at Prison Legal News? Now, I guess about 95% of the content is from prisoners. What are some ways that, either through Prison Legal News or other channels?
Prison Legal News is the only publication that regularly publishes the writings of prisoners, and we're proud of the fact that 95% of our content is from by current or former prisoners. And we think that gives it a unique perspective. And to the extent we're a trade journal or a trade publication, I think this is the same thing of, if you have a magazine about the oil industry, it kind of makes sense that the bulk of the content should be written by people familiar with the oil industry. And same thing with us, is we think that prisoners have the first-hand experience on what's happening inside prisons. Therefore, they're the people who are best situated to write about it and tell that story.
What's happening? What are some stories coming up for the next issue of Prison Legal News?
Our June issue, which is currently being mailed, has the cover story is by Alexandria Napatoff. She's a law professor in California, and it's about the role that snitching and informants play in the criminal justice system, and how it's a totally unregulated evasion of justice, so to speak, where people can and do cut deals with police and prosecutors, send other people to prison, and evade any responsibility or liability for their criminal actions. That's one story. We've got another story that's coming up in our July issue. Our cover story is going to be on the total failure of crime labs as tools of actual investigation, where basically the role of crime labs is to provide props to prosecutors to convict people with very low reliability. Another upcoming story we're doing is on the role of the telecommunications industry in subverting any meaningful regulation of prison telephone calls, and how big the prison telephone industry is, and how big the kickbacks that the industry pays to prison and jail officials are. Another issue we're covering in an upcoming issue is also going to be pay-to-stay jails, where the wealthy can literally pay money and get to pick what jails they stay in, and they stay in the lap of luxury, while poor people who can't afford such things are stuck in medieval dungeons.
And what's your website?
Our website is www.prisonlegalnews.org. That's prisonlegalnews.org.